So I've called you all here today because obviously the blockade is not working to its full effect, as it still hasn't allowed for Cuban missiles to any new ones to go into it. But it's really not stopping the installation and the construction of the existing ones and the existing launch sites. So just looking for more options into what we can do in order to prevent this and to save the people of America.
Well, Mr. President, I would like to remind you that the missiles in Cuba there's nothing going in, but they are in fact installing these missile silos for future use, and I think it is important that in order to stop these, we take military action and stop the production of these missile silos.
See, I think that would do worse for America, because they're probably already scattered all across Cuba, right? Let's say we go and order these airstrikes. We destroy a few. That leaves the ones that are actually active. They can just boop, boom, America. It would have to be a perfect plan for it to come in and be successful without any American casualties, or with minimal American casualties, because there's just too much at risk whenever we were to take military action. I feel like there's a better peaceful option that we could take.
Okay. Well, I agree. I think it's important that we know the exact locations of where these places are, where the missiles are being launched from, and after that information is obtained, then I think it would be necessary to move on with military action, because we know they're ready to use these missiles at any moment.
I respectfully disagree with you, LeMay.
Alright, so are there any other options or ideas on the table?
I believe we should deny the second message by not exchanging trade with them, and this will force Khrushchev to give up.
Gotcha. I feel this probably wouldn't be a smarter idea due to the menacing tone that Khrushchev sent behind the second message, and how they're already in a hostile state, and it ultimately will not benefit the American people and benefit ourselves.
Would we better take military action? Because if we took military action, then we're just leaving
I never said anything about military action, but because military action would face war against the Soviet Union, because it would be considered an act of war. I feel there's still peaceful methods that can be brought upon, but unless these peaceful methods do not work, then we're going to have to resort to military efforts. My idea is that we respond to the very first message, in which we agree that as long as Soviets take their missiles out of Cuba, the American people will not invade Cuba, and that's the promise between the America and the Soviet Union.
I agree, because if we were to just take that option from the first message, because obviously we don't want to have to invade, and they don't want to have to be invaded. So if they were to just disassemble their bombs and we don't have to invade, that'd be a win-win for both, and it would there'd be no casualties. It'd just be drawback, and crisis averted.
I feel like that's probably the smartest decision for us to do. Ultimately, it's the most peaceful method, and it's really just getting back to square one and getting back to how, there weren't bombs in Cuba, and how now the American people will be safe. But if this doesn't work, then we just might have to resort to military actions, but I feel it's definitely important to give the peaceful try the first round.
Right.
Oh. Alright, so I was just informed that one of our fighter planes was just shot down over Cuba by Russian anti-air.
Mr. President, may I remind you that you specifically said that if any military action were to take place against us, then we would in fact retaliate. I think this is the perfect opportunity for us to retaliate against the Cuban regime, and we need to take military action.
I still feel it would be important for us to still give the peaceful option a try, because of the sheer magnitude of the strength that the Soviet Union has inside of Cuba, and how launching an invasion still puts the American people at more of a risk because it doesn't take as long to launch the missiles as it would for our military to invade and go through Cuba.